guys, welcome back to my channel. We are doing something a little different today. I decided to share how I paint watercolor galaxies in Procreate on my iPad because I haven't seen too many tutorials on that. So we're just gonna get right into it. First, I started off with a file. I already had a paper texture pre-made that I just save and use whenever I want to use that texture. I'm not going to go over that in this video, but I will leave a link in my bio to the video I followed on creating this texture. The first step I did in creating my watercolor galaxy was just selecting the watercolor brush. It's just the watercolor brush that comes in Procreate. It's not a custom brush. I wanted to go with like an orangey blue galaxy for this one, so I started off with my oranges just right down the middle, and then I did some lighter blues just in different sections around the orange, and then I used the blending tool that's also selected on the watercolor brush to blend it in. I tried a few different pens to blend. I did the airbrush pen, and then I also did the watercolor one. I really liked the watercolor brush because it keeps that same texture, so I did that. After that, I'm just gonna darken it up around the edges. I kind of went back and forth with blues and orange with this watercolor brush just to create some depth. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave you guys to watch that, and once I start doing some other parts of it, I will come back. One tip that I have that I definitely learned by testing out this water galaxy is to create multiple layers if you're going to incorporate more than about 3 or 4 different shades of color. Once you start to do about 3 or 4 layers on top of each other, it just gets super muddy and black. So after this process, I soon realized that I should do a additional layer on top of it to add an additional color so it doesn't blend too much and create a dark unwanted color that just looks kind of stupid. So after this process of erasing and blending and erasing some more, I continue to do that in the upcoming part of the video, as you will see, but I just wanted to pop in and mention that because it did take me a little bit of time to learn that. And it's a very helpful tip if you want to create any watercolor textures in your drawing. If you're doing multiple layers, make sure you separate the layers so they don't blend too much. Alright, next up, after adding all these colors, I'm moving to a new brush. It's called the Nebula 4. I did download this from a Procreate forum. I will leave it linked in my bio because I absolutely love it. It creates some great texture when you're doing galaxies. So, as I was doing with my watercolor blending, I'm creating a new layer for each color and then just changing the size of the pen, because the bigger and smaller it gets, it creates some really cool texture. So I'm just creating some blues, orange, darker, lighter tones throughout the design just to give it a little bit more depth. And then we will move on to the stars after I'm finished with that. Now that that is finished, we are moving along to the stars. I'm switching up my pen to the Starfield 4 pen, which will also be linked below in my bio. I'm just selecting white, and it gives this kind of like speckled star look, which is really nice because you don't have to draw each individual star. So I'm moving on to that, and then to my second pen, which is a star cluster pen. So it gives a little bit bigger, brighter stars throughout the galaxy. I like to, once again, change the size from bigger to smaller to kind of change up the sizing of the stars to make it look a little bit more natural. And placing them just all around the design was how I liked to do this one. After I placed all of those stars the way I liked them, I moved on to an additional brush. It's more of a stamp brush, so it creates those like flared stars that you see throughout the star clusters. So I just selected that stamp brush and went through to the bigger, brighter stars that I have already placed and just added that on top. So it creates some individual like flared, bright stars throughout the star clusters. I really liked adding that feature because it changes it up a little bit and it creates a little bit more brightness throughout the entire design. I felt like that was just the final feature I needed in this galaxy to finish it up. And other than that, I think that's the final thing I did for this watercolor galaxy. I hope this video was helpful. I know I've struggled to create this sort of galaxy watercolor kind of effect on my iPad in the past. So I just wanted to share it with you guys if you guys are struggling too. Other than that, thank you so much for tuning into this video. I really hope it was helpful or you enjoyed watching it. If you did enjoy this video, feel free to subscribe to this channel. I do post videos quite often, and if you want to be tuned in to when I post them, just hit that bell so you'll be notified. I also share my other art, my Etsy shop sales, any Etsy shop items I have that are new that are hitting the shop will be shared mostly on my Instagram, and then I do share any other behind the scenes posts on my Pinterest. So if you're interested, follow those, check out my Etsy shop, and have an amazing day. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.